60% of new managers fail in the first few months. After 12 years as a manager, I've made a simple 3-step system to help new managers gain respect. In my career, I've become known for taking over and turning around struggling locations. At every new location, I was also taking over a new team, so it was like I was starting as a new manager, starting from scratch, trying to earn the team's respect. The first few locations, I struggled to get people to want to follow and respect me. I realized that speaking to employees was the main reason I didn't earn their respect. In this video, I'm gonna show you my top 3 strategies you can use to walk in and earn respect on the first day, the mistakes you're making when you speak to your employees, and what you can do instead to start earning their respect tomorrow. However, for this system to actually work for you, it's vital that you know what mistakes most new managers make that lead to failure. These are all areas where I took massive L's in my career, so learn from my pain. Mistake number 1. This mistake will be the difference maker if people listen and respect you in the long term. New managers are often promoted from within the team and think their friendships will make managing easier. Wrong. It's harder. You need to create some distance without being cold. If employees see you as a friend, they'll expect special treatment. This is why my friends are outside of work. Mistake number 2. This mistake is so important to building respect, and this is where most managers get things wrong. If you don't do this, not only will people not respect you, but you could even get fired. As the leader, you can't let yourself get sucked into inappropriate or negative conversations. In fact, you need to actively be breaking up these toxic situations. As a leader, you need to be deliberate with every word you speak. Most of us can clearly remember a time where one of our managers said something super out of pocket, because that kind of stuff sticks with employees. You know who else it sticks with? HR.
You're fired! Get out of here! You're fired!
Mistake number 3. This mistake is the main cause of burnout amongst new managers and is one of the most important mistakes to take note of. You cannot do everything on the team. You need to learn to delegate. Most new managers were promoted because they were hard workers. Don't try to take everything on yourself. Just because a great basketball player was great at basketball doesn't mean they're going to manage a successful basketball team. Sorry, Mike.
It became personal with me.
However, despite what I just told you, as a manager, you gotta get dirty. And no, I don't mean mistake number 2, you potty mouths. In Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership, he brings up the idea of what he calls picking up the brass. When Navy SEALs go through shooting exercises at the range, they can go through hundreds, if not thousands of rounds of ammunition in just a few hours. When this happens, it leaves brass casings all over the gun range from the spent ammunition. Normally, the SEALs would pick up the brass casings after every live fire exercise. Even though Jocko was the leader of his platoon, he always made sure to help with this task, even if he wasn't part of the exercise. He believed a good leader should get their hands dirty and help the team finish the job. I didn't just tell you to pass off the tasks to your team to free up your time. It's super important that in order to build and maintain the respect of your team, you roll up your sleeves and pick up the brass every once in a while to show that you're not above the dirty work. This is something that I like to do when I'm taking over a new location, as this sets the tone of what I expect from my team. It's pretty hard for someone to push back on something that you ask when you just did it yourself. Or if there's a big project that I know my team doesn't really want to do, I'll jump in and I'll help them for a little bit just to show that I'm not above it. What I've found is that when you show your team you're not afraid to get your hands dirty and you don't complain about it, they'll honestly come and try to take it away from you. I don't know why it happens, but when employees see you doing things that they should probably be doing, they will want to come and free up your time. I always get employees walking up to me saying, "I got that, boss. You don't need to worry about doing that. You already have enough to handle." Again, you need to find the right balance with this, because doing too much of this is not good. After showing that you're not above it and you're willing to do the dirty things, delegate, pass it on to somebody else. What I'm about to show you next is the ultimate respect building hack. This is one of my secret weapons to building credibility and respect as soon as I take over as a leader. If you use this the right way, you can immediately command the respect of your team. In 2017, I got my first big break when I had the chance to run one of our top locations in my company. I was taking over for a guy who was really liked by his team, but honestly, he was a little lazy as a manager. There was this employee named Ricky that was actually good friends with the previous manager, and Ricky was just slightly cold to me when I started. I could tell that he wasn't super thrilled to have a new person in charge. Knowing this, I used my respect building hack to get him on my team and to get him to want to follow me. Every time he would ask me for something that he needed, I would prioritize it. My goal was to get back to him as fast as possible. I specifically remember him asking me if we could carry a certain type of protein drink in our work fridge. In his mind, based on the last manager, I'm sure he was asking with the expectation that we could maybe get it, and if so, it would probably take at least a few weeks for us to get it in stock. Immediately after he asked me, I confirmed that I can in fact order the drink, and I ordered it. I came back to him about 20 minutes later and casually said, by the way, I got that drink you wanted. It'll be here by the end of the week. This was 7 years ago, and I still remember the look on his face like it was yesterday. He looked at me and said, "Oh, really? Wow, thank you," with a smile on his face that told me I had won him over. Of course, I had more work to do, but that was a defining moment where I could see the shift in his attitude towards me and that he had accepted me as a leader. As a matter of fact, even though we don't work together anymore, I still keep in touch with Ricky. If someone is treating you coldly as a new manager, just look at it as a challenge to win them over by prioritizing their requests, as long as they're within reason. Getting these small wins like ordering a protein drink can add up. This will be huge for you as a new manager. Okay, so why is talking to your employees bad for your respect as a leader? I can hear what you're saying now.
But Bash, how the heck am I supposed to work with my employees if I can't speak with them?
I think the best person that shows my point in action is NBA coach Steve Kerr. A few years back, Steve Kerr was actually in the headlines for doing something extremely unordinary as a head coach. So instead of calling the plays, he took a back seat to giving orders and listened to what his players had to say and put those ideas into action. That game, they beat the Phoenix Suns by 45 points. Now, by no means am I saying you can just chill back and let your team run the show. My point here is that if you want respect from your team, you need to stop talking to them and you need to actually listen to what they have to say. Listening to the feedback of your team is one of the hardest things to do, especially if it's critical of you. However, this is where you can pick up on some of the most valuable bits of information that you can then implement. If you've ever had the experience of telling your boss a better way to do things and they actually implement it, it makes you feel good. You feel like you have ownership in what you're doing at work because it was your idea. Employees are diamond mines of good ideas. Yeah, you're gonna have to sift through some bad ideas, but if you're constantly speaking to employees instead of listening to them, you'll never be able to pick up on those gems of information that make or break your career. So when you do actually speak to employees, how do you get them to respect you? If you don't master this skill as a new manager, you may not make it. What you say to your employees can make the difference of earning their respect or them quitting. I actually made this video here that shows you how to speak to them and how to earn their respect. By lying to them? That sounds kind of bad. It's not what you think. I know that sounded like some Andrew Tate stuff right there, but just watch the video.